Hi again then guys, and welcome to the last but definitely not least of the 3 Group C car setups that I promised to do. We've done the Nissan, we've done the Mercedes Sauber, and now of course the Jaguar XJR-9. Now the reference lap for this one is a 2:59, which of course was again featured in the Rivals match between all 3 cars, but as with all of the others, I'm running basically the minimum requirements so that you can see what the car can do. So stock weight, stock power, and racing hard tyres. Now I'd recommend having traction control off. You will be quicker if you learn how to use it that way, but of course for less experienced drivers you might want it on 1 for instance. I wouldn't necessarily recommend having it higher than that because it starts to really slow you down, and just having it on 1 does make a pretty huge difference anyway. As far as the suspension, we've got the ride height on 70mm. As far as the frequency, we've got those on 4, anti-roll on 6 and 5. I've increased the compression of the dampers to 56, left the rebound on 85. Just like the other 2, I'm running 1 degree of camber. You could actually try running 0 camber on this car. It can loosen up the steering a little bit more, but at the same time it won't be quite as stable. So there's drawbacks to everything. As far as the tow, we've got that neutral. Of course, being as this one is a top speed and cornering tune, we've got the downforce set at the minimum. On another track, for instance, you might want to set it higher, of course, to have even more grip, but that's down to you. As far as the diff, just like the other 2, the lowest initial torque, the highest acceleration and braking, at least for me. Of course, feel free to change that if you want to try something different. At the end of the day, if you do try something else and you don't like it as much, you can always just come back and do this one again, like a default tune. And as far as the gearbox, finally, as I said with the other 2, if you do drop the weight in particular, it does give you a couple of extra miles per hour for top end, so don't expect it to be quite as quick if you do leave the weight and power stock, but at the same time, it can do around a 3-minute lap either way. So as far as the transmission, we've got an auto setting of 267 miles per hour, then the individual gears I've actually left basically stock. I haven't bothered to round them off for this car. You don't necessarily have to, that's something which I usually do, so you could round them if you wanted to, but we've got a 3.5 final drive for this particular car, and that's the exact tune that I was using in the Rivals match, apart from, of course, the weight difference. It was even on the same tyres. So all that remains, of course, just like with the other 2, is to take it out on Lasat to see what it's capable of. Now, just like with the other 2 cars, the Nissan and the Sauber, the more experience you have with the vehicle, the more fluid it will become. In terms of lap time potential, as I said, you can easily break under 3 minutes with this car. Again, I was using an automatic gearbox, so with a manual you can definitely go even quicker. Even I myself could, I'm just lazy in that way. And of course, if you put it on mediums or soft tyres, again, you can knock off a couple of seconds on the right track, something like the Nordschleifer or Lasat, those long circuits. That's where it makes a huge difference. So overall, if you do decide to use this tune or one of the other 2, which if you haven't checked out, you definitely should by clicking through here, then of course, enjoy them and win plenty of races with them. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.